Our car reviewer Emmanuel will be testing Ford's new second-generation S-Max. The first generation was crowned European Car of the Year in 2007. The recent revamp is immediately evident from the exterior. It still exhibits Ford's design language, familiar from the Fiesta and the Mondeo. It gives the car a broader and sportier look. From the side, the S-Max seems stretched. This impression is enhanced by the way the windows descend toward the back. The now familiar keyless go feature, explains Emmanuel, allowed you to leave the key in your pocket. In the S-Max, you merely have to lay your hand on the handle and the door will open automatically. And when you get out of the car again, just place a finger on those 4 lines and the door locks likewise automatically. The S-Max appeals to drivers who like a more aggressive drive. This is reflected in the available engines. Emmanuel is driving the version with the largest available gasoline unit, the 2.0-liter EcoBoost, which generates 175 kilowatts. Our S-Max accelerates to 109.4 seconds and reaches a top speed of 226 kilometers per hour. Ford claims a fuel economy of 7.9 liters of gas per 100 kilometers. With power like that, it's easy to end up going faster than you realize. Here, too, Ford has a solution. In the past, to avoid exceeding the speed limit, you could turn on the speed regulation device, and it kept you under the permissible pace. But the device was unaware of when the speed limit changed. Now a camera in the second-generation S-Max's intelligent speed limiter recognizes traffic signs. Plus, the GPS navigation system knows the speed limits on different stretches of road. The system adjusts the car's top speed accordingly. The system also recognizes no overtaking signs and displays them on the instrument cluster. The interior incorporates high-quality materials and exhibits sound craftsmanship. All the buttons are easily accessible, so you can easily switch the numerous assistance systems on or off, such as parking assistant, park distance control, and the automatic start-stop system. Everyone has been in a parking space at 90 degrees to the street with the other parked cars blocking the view. You have to stretch far forward to see if anyone's coming. But the S-Max has a front camera for a 180-degree view, so approaching cars are seen at a comfortable glance. The rear of the S-Max is even more dynamic than its predecessor. The LED rear lights boast a rather unique design, especially in the dark. But the design isn't all that has changed. Another familiar situation is carrying things to the car and not wanting to set them down. Just move your foot under here, and the Easy Open function opens the hatch automatically. If you put your first piece of cargo in, and there's not enough room for much more, then just press this button, and the third row of seats folds down for more storage space. There's also a button for the second row of seats. Fitted with the entry-level 1.5-liter gasoline engine, the S-Max starts at 30,150 euros in Germany. 4 diesel units are available along with another gasoline engine. Overall, Emmanuel likes the S-Max. It has a fresh design, is extremely functional, and has a wealth of assists. If life begins at 40, then let rival car makers beware. The BMW 3 Series has been continually evolving over 6 generations.
3 Series is very much at the core of our brand, and it started back in the mid-70s. It started the longest success period in, I think, automotive history. Some 14 million 3 Series have been sold around the world since that point, and of course today it comes in many derivatives as well. So it's core in the United States, it's core in Asia, and it's also core here in Europe. So we're delighted with this positioning.
And what better place to unveil the latest sedan and touring sports wagon versions than the BMW Museum in Munich? It's home to various historical models, including the beginnings of the 3 Series. The enduring success story began back in 1975. BMW launched a car that would have a defining influence on generations of drivers. A compact mid-range model with both executive and sporting ambitions. And with exterior and interior styling that was truly innovative. A driver-oriented front cabin would be a characteristic feature of BMW's new baby. The 3 Series would also soon leave its mark on the track too, at home in Germany and on the international racing circuit.
Maybe it was not the one of the best, it was the best car for touring car, and with that car we could achieve many titles. We won immediately in 1987 we won the World Touring Car Championship, and in '88 we won the European, and then in '89 we won the DTM. So it was a fantastic period for racing with this car.
And the engineers have given the 3 Series a nice makeover in time for its big birthday. Of course, the interior has seen a series of changes over the last 4 decades. Upgraded materials, plus electronic assists and other features that leave nothing to be desired. What has remained is the driver-friendly front cabin. Then there's the one edition of the 3 Series that was originally not really part of BMW's plans, but is today an integral part of the legend, the touring sports wagon. It came about due to Max Reisberg's family vacations. Whenever he wanted to take his wife and children on vacation, there was the problem of packing in all the luggage in the regular 3 Series notchback. He was both a BMW engineer and a keen BMW driver. So in April 1984, he began thinking about how to build a wagon version. He decided to shift back the C-pillar and extend the roof. He could already picture it. For many, the 3 Series was and is more than just a means of transportation. It's a way of life. The 3 Series was soon in big demand among collectors. Daniel Falkenberg is the owner of one of the most comprehensive collections of the 3 Series. The model exerts an amazing attraction, he explains, because it's such a versatile car compared with many others. It's agile, responsive, and has a really wide range of uses. He just loves it. It takes a closer look to detect new changes on the exterior. At the front, the trademark kidney grille has gotten wider, and the lights have been modernized front and back in both the sedan and wagon versions. The changes under the hood are more obvious. The top-of-the-range engine is a 3-liter 6-cylinder unit in the BMW 340i. It delivers 240 kilowatts of power and acceleration from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 5.2 seconds. Top speed is an electronically limited 250 kilometers per hour. Official fuel consumption is a 7.7 liters of premium unleaded for 100 kilometers. Not bad. A first for the 3 Series is a 1.5-liter 3-cylinder engine in the 318i. BMW claims a fuel economy of just 5 liters for 100 kilometers, but still with a peak speed of 210 kilometers per hour. A plug-in hybrid edition is slated for launch in 2016. Seat has given the Ibiza a facelift. Under the hood, You'll now find supercharged 3-cylinder engines which comply with the Euro 6 emission standard. And they've made it even easier to stay connected with the Ibiza's new Mirror Link and Apple Play features. The design hasn't changed, but there will be color packs available, meaning the wheel rims, radiator grille, and mirrors now come in any of 6 shiny new colors. The launch of the first Q7 back in 2006 marked Audi's breakthrough into the SUV market. Since then, the car maker has sold more than 2 million Q models. 500,000 of these were Q7s, their largest SUV model. And it's now time for the second generation. The new version is around 325 kilograms lighter and has new, more efficient engines that use up to 28% less fuel. Volkswagen presents the new Golf R variant, for the first time with an extended rear. It packs 221 kilowatts of power and up to 380 newton-meters of torque. The standard 6-speed dual-clutch gearbox, progressive steering, and sport suspension lowered by 2 centimeters make it a real high-performance little wagon. The Golf R variant may look tame at first sight, but it's a powerhouse. The 4 gleaming tailpipes already hint at that, as do the big brakes that bring the R variant to a quick stop. Those 221 kilowatts can produce between 5,500 and 6,200 RPM. If you choose your shift point precisely, you'll be rewarded with a loud rumble from the exhaust system. The R-Wagon rockets to 100 kilometers an hour in 5.1 seconds and has a top speed of 250 kilometers an hour. Without the speed limitation device, it can reach 270. Former race driver Klaus Nietzwitz is testing the R variant for us on the Circuito Ascari in Spain, where you can really put the meaty station wagon through its paces. The sport setting allows the electronic stability program to perform gentle, harmonious drifts. The standard all-wheel drive also helps transmit all the power of the supercharged 2-liter 4-cylinder engine to the road. Klaus says power isn't restricted to the car's sound. Here you have 300 horsepower and plenty of torque. 380 newton-meters are quite an advantage when you come out of a turn with low revs. Then, when you step on the gas, the car shoots ahead. The ESC Sport setting can be deactivated for laps on a racetrack. One of the emotional highlights is the newest generation of the DCC Adaptive Chassis Control, whose choice of driving profiles includes a race mode. Klaus is thrilled. The R variant reaches 260 kilometers an hour here on the straightaway, and he says 270 is possible on the Autobahn. When you hit the brakes at that speed, you feel the seatbelt more than you'd like. But a powerful brake system is just what a car this sporty needs. In the interior, the Golf flagship boasts a 3-spoke leather sports steering wheel, automatic climate control, and a large touchscreen. The R variant always comes with a direct shift gearbox and 4-motion permanent 4-wheel drive. Only high-quality materials go into the Golf R, and an R logo graces the sport seats. Klaus can hardly believe this is a small van. It definitely feels like a sports car here on the Ascari racecourse. Then he tests the car at a lower speed. After all, it has families in mind, the kids in the back and mom and dad in the front on shopping trips. The car and its engine are both well suited for everyday use, too.
Und die Alltagstauglichkeit dieses Autos und auch des Motors ist schon beeindruckend.
On the Ascari racetrack, our car tester is very impressed. The car has lots of power, a top-notch transmission, good brakes, and precise steering. The new VW Golf R variant offers driving fun, room, and safety. With a whopping 221 kilowatt engine and a 1,620 liters of storage space, it leaves little to be desired. In Germany, the R variant starts at 42,925 euros.
Woran denken Sie bei Hollywood?
Car tester Reinhold Deisenhofer says most people think of movie stars when they think of Hollywood, but there's also a tiny village of that name, population barely 100, in Ireland. He's here to test the new Opel Insignia, the typical company car. Most drivers want their office on wheels to get from A to B quickly, quietly, smoothly, and economically. So he's going to see how well the Insignia, powered by the Whisper diesel, can do just that.
Schauen wir uns jetzt an.
Opel's product offensive is moving ahead full speed. That includes a thorough upgrade of their range of diesel engines. The market debut of the 2.0 CDTI ushered in a new generation of diesels and 3 power outputs for Opel models from the Corsa to the Insignia. The 2-liter diesel in the Insignia we tested is touted as quieter, cleaner, and more fuel efficient. The new liter of the diesel pack boasts 125 kilowatts of power and 400 newton-meters of torque, adding up to 4% more performance and 14% more torque than its predecessor. Opel's Alpha Wolf leaps from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 9.4 seconds, reaching a top speed of 220 kilometers per hour. The car maker rates fuel consumption as 4.7 liters per 100 kilometers. Reinhold points out that 80% of Germany's Insignia buyers choose a station wagon and 85% want a diesel engine. The introduction of the Whisper diesel will probably increase this number. From inside the car, the 170 horsepower engine is as quiet as a gasoline-powered one and just as sensitive in responding to the pedal. HMI stands for Human-Machine Interface, a networked front cabin through which the driver communicates with the car. That includes the steering wheel control interface, the center console's touchscreen, speech recognition, and the instrument cluster in front of the driver, all designed to minimize distractions in traffic. The 2-liter CDTI uses the Blue Injection SCR system to remove nitrogen oxide from its emissions, much as trucks do. A smidgen of AdBlue, a mixture of urea and distilled water, is injected into the exhaust. The resulting ammonia breaks the nitrogen oxide down into harmless nitrogen and steam. Reinhold concludes that the Whisper diesel is a whole new generation. It has more power and accelerates better than its predecessor, and it produces less vibration. It could be a tad sportier, but the Insignia is a bit too porky for that. If it were lighter, it would be nimbler. Here, quality carries weight. The 1972 Porsche 911 Targa is one for purists. No digital gimmickry, no fancy assists, just pure engineering and mechanics. It's brimming with power and panache. Many things about it may seem out of date, but never old. The Targa followed no trend. This is truly a classic of the timeless variety, which counts for so much more. Its form followed a concept and the principle of craftsmanship, not computer-aided design. The Porsche 911 was a dream out of reach for most drivers' budgets. When first launched, it was the mark of a successful man or woman. Now, as a vintage car, it remains an exclusive asset affordable only to a select few. The previous owner of this 911T Targa put some 40,000 euros into it, not to buy it, but just to restore it. The window of opportunity for getting hold of an original 911 on the cheap closed long ago, sometime around the early 1990s at the latest. The prices have been climbing ever since. As long as the overall condition is sound, especially of the body, even a fairly expensive renovation can be well worth the investment. The interior is likewise a straightforward affair, reduced to the technical essentials for a high-performance sports car. The air-cooled engine has an irresistible sound, a masterpiece of old-school engineering. An early Targa like this is not meant for showing off. Fans of low-riding, brawny-sounding cool might prefer other models. The Targa has a style of its own, of a pedigree sports car. And that means a driver to match, one with the power to put a foot on the brakes and some muscle into the non-power steering. Vintage car collector Marcos Diamant confirms that this kind of Porsche is not for wimps. It means work and contact with the road, something for enthusiasts. It's not state-of-the-art Porsche with driver assists. This car has a certain firmness and sturdiness, so you know you're in a sports car with the open sky above you. That's the unique charm of the Targa.
Und das macht den besonderen Reiz des Targas aus.
This 911 is not the best entry model into classic car circles. For one, the handling takes some getting used to. And for another, repairs and maintenance are in the same price class as the car itself. Porsche rolled out the first 911 Targa in 1965 in the form of a highly safety-conscious convertible. At the time, the A-pillars did without. Reinforced high-strength materials had not yet been developed. Instead, the engineers put a stainless steel-clad roll bar in behind the front seats. No other car at the time had one. What started as a practical but ugly solution later became the Targa's trademark. The Targa's top was detachable, but in the long run that meant extra wear and tear. If there was no room left under the front hood, it could also be stowed behind the seats. Marcus Diamant's passion for vintage cars has partly to do with his distaste for today's vehicles, especially because they tend to look increasingly alike. Back when cars were developed mainly by the engineers, they were the ones who determined the final product. Today, in his opinion, the marketing people have far too much say in it. Now, what's important is what the market demands, not what the brand represents. Today, all the cars have the same shape, an egg shape, rounded off. Every car used to have its own personality, so you could spot the model from the horizon. The vintage cars put you into a time machine and give you a feel for what life was like 40 years ago.
Und wenn das Auto dann auch noch einen perfekten Zustand hat, dann fühlt man sich genau so, wie die Leute sich vor 40 Jahren gefühlt haben.
The 1972 Porsche Targa has no problem handling everyday driving, but the driver might have problems handling the Targa. It takes work. There's no time to relax. Sit back and enjoy the ride. But even if the T-Line's 130 horsepower engine is noticeably weaker than the S-Line's 190 horsepower, it's still fun to drive. And as fast as anyone's likely to need.